Okay, on this lesson we're going to convert standard form to slope-intercept form. It's very important to know how to convert equations into slope-intercept form, especially when you are graphing using your slope-intercept form. A lot of times you'll also want equations in slope-intercept form when you're using your graphing calculators. We have 6 problems that we're going to do. We'll do 3 together. You'll pause the video, try 3 on your own, and then restart the video to make sure you have your process correctly. It's a fairly simple process, so let's go ahead and get started. On the first one, I have my standard form, which is 6x plus 2y equals 12, and I'm going to convert that into into slope-intercept form. And we know that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So now the first thing that I'm going to do, I know if I'm putting it in slope-intercept form, that means that I need to isolate the variable y. I need to get rid of everything else, and I use the same transformations that I would use if I were solving an equation. So the first thing I need to get rid of is this 6x. So I'll do the opposite and I'll subtract 6x from both sides of the equation. So when I do that, that leaves me with the 6x's cancel out. I'll bring down my 2y. I'll bring down my 2y. I'll bring down my equal sign, and I'll have a 12 minus 6x. Well, when I look at my slope-intercept form, I see that the x part comes first. So when I rewrite this, I'll put negative 6x plus 12. I can't combine those because they're not like terms. Now I need to get rid of this 2, so I'll divide everything by 2. 2's cancel out. That leaves me with y equals. Now, negative 6 divided by 2 gives me negative 3. Bring down the x. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. So this will be plus 6. So my slope-intercept form would be y equals negative 3x plus 6. And if you look here, I'm going to write the slope-intercept form underneath. You see my m is negative 3 and my b is 6. Okay? So let's gonna scroll down so we can look at the next one. It's a fairly simple process, and you should be able to pick up on this pretty quickly. So the next one I have negative 3x plus 4y equals 16. That's my standard form. Remember, my goal is to isolate my variable y. I want to isolate my variable y, so that means I need to get rid of 3x. So if I have minus 3x, I want a plus 3x to both sides of my equation. I'll bring down what I have left. 3x's cancel out. I'll bring down the 4y. It's just a pattern, same thing over and over and over. I'm going to put the x part first, so since it's positive, I'll just put 3x, and then I'll bring down the plus 16. Now I need to get rid of that coefficient for that y variable. So I'll divide everything by whatever the coefficient is. So in this case, I'm dividing everything by 4. Okay, so now when I look at the right side, I'll have 3 over 4x. That means that my coefficient is just 3/4. Bring down the x. And then 16 divided by 4 is 4. So my slope-intercept form is y equals 3/4 x plus 4. Let's try this last one together. Then you're going to try a few on your own. Okay? This time I have a negative 2x minus 9y equals 3. I'm doing the same thing, same process over and over and over. It's a negative 2x, so the opposite of minus 2x is going to be plus 2x. So I'll plus 2x to both sides of my equation. 2x's cancel out on the left. I'll bring down my minus 9y. Bring down my equal. Once again, in slope-intercept form, the x part has to come first. So that's going to be 2x plus 3. Now I'll divide everything by -9. Now one thing that you do want to be careful about, I see a lot of students making this mistake, they will drop their negative signs. If there is a negative and from minus sign in front of that coefficient for that y variable, you have to divide by the negative, okay? My -9's cancel out. And I have here 2 divided by -9. So a negative divided by a positive we know is a negative. So that's going to be a -2 over 9x. And then I'll have 3 divided by a -9. Once again, we know that a negative divided by a positive is a negative. So this becomes minus 1/3. And that's my final answer. Now what I want you to do is pause the video, try the other 3 problems on your own, then restart the video so you can check your answers. Okay, if you've restarted your video, that means that you're ready to check your answers. Let's look at number 4 together. We have x plus 15y equals 3. Once again, we're putting everything in slope-intercept form. So, you know, you have to get rid of this x. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to subtract the x. You don't see a number in front. You don't see a coefficient. So it's understood there's a 1 there. So I'll just subtract x from both sides of my equation. I'll bring down what's remaining. That's 15y equals -x plus 3. Divide everything by the coefficient of the y, which is 15 in this case. So I'll divide everything by 15. And I'll bring down what's remaining. The 15's cancel out. This -x over 15, that's the same as saying -1/15 x. -1 over 15x. And then I'll have 3 over 15. When you reduce that, that gives you a positive 1/5. So my slope-intercept form is y equals a -1 over 15x plus 1/5. Let me move this so we can see the next 2. Now, while you're doing this, if you found that you've made a mistake, please make sure that you correct yourself so that when you're working on your own, you have something to refer back to. Okay, the next one, this number 5, I have a -24x plus 8y equals -16. So of course, you know I need to get rid of this -24x first. So if it says -24, I'm doing the opposite. I'm going to add 24x to both sides of my equal sign. I'll bring down what's remaining. That gives me 8y equals 24x minus 16. Another thing that you need to be careful about is if I look at the right side of my equation, that says -16. So remember, don't drop that sign. That's one of the biggest mistakes that I see students make. They just drop their signs. They're really not, careful and not paying attention to what they're doing. So now divide everything by that coefficient of the y, which is 8. And I'll bring down what I have left. It leaves me with y equals 24 divided by 8 leaves me with 3. Bring down the x. Then I have a -16 divided by 8. Negative divided by a positive is negative. So this becomes a -2. So my final answer is y equals 3x minus 2. That's my slope-intercept form. Once again, if you made a mistake, please correct yourself. So when you're working by yourself, when you're trying to do your homework problems or whatever it is that you're doing, you have something to refer back to in your notes. And then this last one, I have 4x minus 2y equals 8. Same old, same old. Do the same thing all over again. That's a positive 4x, so I'll subtract 4x. I'll bring down what I have left. Once again, remember the x term has to come first. So that leaves me with negative 4x plus 8. Now I'll divide everything by negative 2. Bring down what's remaining. Negative 4 divided by negative 2. Remember, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So this leaves me with plus 2x. And then here I have a positive 8 divided by a negative 2. Negative times a divided by a negative is negative. Excuse me, a positive divided by a negative is negative. So this becomes minus 4. So my final answer is y equals 2x minus 4.